I've very rarely ever heard an entrepreneur who started a business say it was a relief.
It's bigger than just them, the clients, the team member. We're serving a purpose.
What are some of the ways that you've seen it play out where it's like, no, you got to go for it?
If I don't, they're going to call me out and say, hey, what are we doing? Your faith in your business, it's a risk.
Welcome to First and Focused, the podcast where faith meets leadership. I know you're going to put me on the spot. I don't know what you're going to ask me to say. I'm Mark Greaves, and in each episode, I sit down with business and industry leaders who put God first in their work and stay focused on building his kingdom through their calling. I could sit here and talk with you all day.
Keep up the great work, brother. The Lord is using you powerfully. I love you. I love watching what Jesus is doing in your life.
Well, welcome everyone to the First and Focus show. I'm your host, Mark Greaves, where today we are here with Joe Schmitz. Joe, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited for this one.
As you know, the show is, we've interviewed leaders from various industries who are putting God first, not just in life, but also through work and building the kingdom through what they do. So yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, glad to be here, man. I'm a huge advocate of everything you do. So
well, and vice versa.
If your name's attached to it, I know it's something good and fires me up anytime I see what you're doing. So
dude,
glad
I love
to be
it.
a part of this.
Well, what you're doing is crazy. I feel like I have like a local celebrity on almost. I mean, it's this question's deep in my question list. I'm just going to start with it. I mean, you're used to having the microphone in front of your face. I mean, whether it's 610 WTVN. Actually, let me read your bio here, your intro, because just for those who don't know who you are, it's pretty darn impressive. Joe Schmitz, you're the founder of Peak Retirement Planning, currently ranked as #1 fastest growing private company in Ohio and number 156 on the 2025 Inc. 5000 list. You're a certified financial planner, but also a certified kingdom advisor, operating on biblical principles and worldview. Now, this is the crazy part. Your YouTube channel boasts nearly 70,000 subscribers. You've offered several books, including Midwestern Millionaire, I Hate Taxes, and the 2% Club. You're a frequent local news contributor. You've been featured on NBC, ABC, Fox, and local AM radio 610 WTVN, along with others. Graduate of Mount Vernon Nazarene. You do love to give back to the students there. You're a guest frequently at your alma mater, along with Cedarville University and other local universities, along with supporting local nonprofits financially through your work. And then last and certainly not least, you're a lover and follower of Jesus Christ. So
Most important.
Yeah. I mean, how do you have a bio like that? You just turned 30 yesterday, you said.
Yeah.
So you were 29 2 days ago.
Yes.
Just give me a rundown of how in the heck do you graduate college in 2018 and somehow develop that kind of a resume in just like 6-7 years?
Yeah. I mean, we joked about it, but I think it's the answer is single, no kids. I mean, well, yeah. that's the truth of it to an extent. But I mean, I've just been blessed to have two parents that have probably the hardest work ethic and most driven people that I know. And for them to be able to pour into me and just show me what it takes to be successful and how to have that mental toughness to persevere through that has been everything. But I mean, outside of sacrificing, faith, fitness, family, friends, like this is what I do. Like I work and I love to work and we're called to work. And the Lord says to work 6 days and rest 1. I think that's what he did. Right. So,
it's a pretty good plan. Good strategy.
Yeah. But it's all on mission. And so when you're on mission, you're just excited. So to be able to see the growth over the years, it just really fuels me and motivates me. And, I always say too, like, if I'm on a treadmill with someone, like I'm not getting off, and it's just that competitive edge that has allowed me to get to where I am.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to do that or, can't do that. And that's totally fine, but that's just the route I've chosen. And because of that, what has come is because of that. But obviously just, the blessings of everything that becomes in between. Like, how do I even get here? Yeah. I don't know. Like, just keep saying yes and keep, getting better every day. And, good things happen. So it's an awesome story, but just more excited about, what's coming and more so the people I get to do it with.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. Like people are like, how do you write books? How do you have over 1,000 clients? How do you do all this stuff? And it's like, well, we've got an awesome team who allows me to look really good. Yeah. And that, Mark, I mean, being with teams and working with people, like they, for example, YouTube, you talked about YouTube. I don't do any of the editing. I don't do any of the thumbnails. All I do is sit in front of the camera for 15 to 20 minutes, hit play. I don't even set up the studio. Someone else sets that up. I just press play. I don't touch the lights. They'll yell at me if I touch the lights. But
yeah, you don't screw it up.
We've grown that to 70,000, and all I've done is one part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of times, like, you can point towards, me or whoever is having success, but who's behind them?
Yeah.
Like, what's the support they have behind them? And that's ultimately where the success comes. We got 40 team members working hard for us.
Well, the thing I want to point out is I feel like a lot of guys will say, oh, people ask me, how do you do this? You see that all the time. People always ask me, people actually do ask you. I mean, I've asked you, I've taken you to lunch and been like, how did you do this on YouTube? Like, people really do see some of the work that's been created and how fast it's gone, like the success that you've had. Mm-hmm. People want that for themselves. They don't really know how to put the pieces together. So, I mean, for you, obviously it's talent, it's hard work, it's team. I mean, all that makes sense. It's all in alignment, but man, it's
the who, not how concept, right? It's like, I've just gone the route of, like, instead of trying to figure out how to do everything, I'm going to hire people really, really good to figure it out, so that I don't have to, so I can focus on my unique abilities on what I do best. And so, I think that a lot can come from just that delegation piece.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, when you talked a lot about your parents and the competitiveness, like when you grew up, was that just in you?
Oh,
you always had this fire?
You played sports too. Like, you don't ever want to lose. I remember when I was a kid crying after every time we lost a game. Like, it was the worst thing in the entire world. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, it was probably unhealthy, but I'm like, it's probably really healthy, really. Because it just meant that much to me. And I just remember, like, my dad coaching me growing up was super hard on me. Yeah. Like, to the extent where it's like, is that the right thing to do? But it's like, yeah, I love every single second of what that was.
It built you to where you are now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and people don't, people always want to have that victim mentality.
Yeah.
They always want the easy way out. They always want to blame themselves. But at the end of the day, if you really want to do something and be successful, like, you got to put in the work. And it's all about those unseen hours of what are you going to do in the background. But yeah, I mean, playing basketball in college and high school, like, I was that guy that was in the gym early and late, and I was unathletic, undersized two guard. Like, you gotta be able to work if you want to be successful, in playing college at that.
So you loved it. Like, you weren't there because somebody was making you be there.
Exactly.
Did you actually love the game? Like, what was it about basketball? Like, what?
So it's funny, like, looking back, I don't know if I really love the game. Like, I don't play anymore. I never touch a basketball.
Yeah, I don't play my sport ever again. Yeah.
I think what I loved was the competitiveness, the process, the team, all the things that come with sports is what I loved. And I thought I loved basketball at the time, but I'm like, yeah, probably not. I just loved everything that came with it.
Yeah.
Because now I found the passion in my career. And so, it's the same kind of concept. So.
That's where I was going, is like, you never seem to me like you're working really hard. Like, I know you are, but it seems like you enjoy it.
Exactly.
We're like, you're not addicted to the work. You like the process, and you like the outcomes that the process, if you follow it correctly, what those lead to, right?
Of course.
Is that so? How did financial services come to be? Like, how did it transition from sports and competitiveness to getting into something like Peak?
Yeah, absolutely. And people like always talk about burnout too. Like, hey, like, man, you're gonna get, like, people tell me all the time, you're gonna get burnt out. Like, we literally had someone on our team say this, and I had to have a discussion with the whole team. They're like, hey, we're worried about Joe. Like, he's got a lot on his plate. Like, he does quite a bit. Like, I'm afraid that he's going to get burnt out. And I'm like, guys, I have never been more fulfilled. I've never been more energized in my life doing what I get to do now. I was with 2 other firms before I started Peak, and I was not in my full fulfillment.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a caged animal because I just couldn't do what I wanted to do. And I know you felt that too before.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome to see what you got to do with, on the faith side of with your business that you couldn't have done before.
Yeah.
But, burnout's never a thing. I love what I do every single day. And it energizes me. But, what got me into financial services, I had a mentor who said, hey, if you come and shovel manure for 3 years, you're going to enter an industry that's in huge need, 100,000 advisors retiring in the next 10 years. That's 1/3 of our population. And you can make a generational impact on people's lives. And she's the type of, she was an advisor for 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, she was going to funerals. She was, going to family reunions, like just really life impacting conversations and relationships. And so that's what got me into it. And then, just kind of went all into it.
Man, I mean, it's crazy because faith and finance is this kind of weird intersection. At least in a lot of people's minds, it is. I don't think it is in yours anymore. Which I want to get to that on how do these two things intersect? Where God and money come up a lot in the Bible.
Yeah.
There's a lot around idols, and I think money is one of the easiest things that we can obviously cling to for security here in this world. But before we even get there, When you launched Peak, give me like a backstory, like leading up to that. Like, where was your walk with Christ?
Yeah.
What did that look like? How did it start? And then as you entered into this, we're going to get to the next part in a second. But
yeah, absolutely. So growing up, always grew up in a church. Went to church every Sunday. That was all part of our, family dynamic and how we did things. I would say I truly found the Lord when I was in college. That's when I really identified and was able to realize, like, wow, my identity hasn't necessarily been in the right areas of my life. And so that was a huge shift of aligning my life with my faith and my beliefs, and also just realizing truly that Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins to give me eternal life. And when you uncover that, it opens up, it just opens you up, right? It just, it led me to just continue to be in prayer of, Lord, lead me to where you want me to be, and that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And it just was starting to align everything I do in what he would want me to do. And so that was kind of the pivotal part. And so once I graduated, joined 2 different firms, and, had that mentality with those 2 firms, no doubt. But obviously you're restricted when it's other people's names on the business, and you're not able to do what you want to do. So that's where, when I started Peak, just felt a sense of relief, a sense of peace, where could truly lead with, the CKA is what we talk about, but with Christian values. And we don't predominantly work with Christians. We probably about half of our clients are believers, half are not, and we don't discriminate by any means. But from our team standpoint, majority of our team members are believers, and they're very attracted to our culture. We have a culture where, we go all into it. And this was actually, a conversation I had with you. I don't know if you remember it. At a coffee shop one time, I was like, hey, here's our situation. Yes, we talk about the Lord. Yes, we live out, Christian values and from a Christian worldview, but I don't think we're going all in. And you challenged me. You said, hey, I would challenge you to do this, this, and this. And we've done all those things.
Yeah.
And what a relief, I would say. It's not only been for me, but our team.
Yeah.
They now have a purpose that is so much bigger than themselves. It's bigger than just them, the clients, the team member. We're serving a purpose that is greater. And the platform we have is such a platform to be able to speak that. And, I'd say that's what's been most exciting of being what we've done.
I got 2 follow-ups on this, because the first one is, I've very rarely ever heard an entrepreneur who started a business say it was a relief. I've never heard it described as I started this thing and it's been such a relief. Maybe down the road, but in the beginning, even you described it that way almost from the get-go, because you could align the values and the mission of the company and the principles that you operate it by. You could align it with what's inside your heart, versus having to align it with what's in someone else's. To a degree, you can have your influence on it, but ultimately, when it's not yours, you can't direct all the steps.
Exactly.
So how cool is that? But then too, I know a lot of the guys that are on your team, and I've talked to them, and what you're describing is not untrue. You guys do have a gel and a core that's happening inside of your company that's very different. And I think it's because they have a leader who can speak like this about what the company's all about, why you do, what you use the business for, how you guys are trying to steward your influence, not just for, temporary returns on investment, but also for eternal return on investment that you guys are doing in and through your business. Give me a little bit about how leaders that don't have that unique ability, or haven't, given the all-in kind of moment where maybe they are Christian, maybe they do have, a deeper mission behind what they want to do, but they're just nervous or scared to do it. What are some of the ways that you've seen it play out where it's no, you got to go for it?
Absolutely.
You get to be more authentic, and you got to go for it. It's going to pay dividends, not just at work, but in your whole life.
Of course.
Talk about that.
Yeah. And before we get to that, I want to just talk about the whole concept of accountability. It allows me to lead better having a team like what you just talked about. If I don't lead this way, they're going to be felt let down.
Yeah.
And if I don't, they're going to call me out and say, hey, what are we doing? Right. So that has been so key for me personally, is just the accountability, because we're all sinful. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to do things that aren't exactly the way it needs to be done. But when you have a gracious team that's going to be forgiving and also be tough enough to tell you what you need to hear, that's when you win. But for that person who's, kind of sitting there and just kind of wondering what should I do here? Because it's a real thing. When you talk your faith in your business, it's a risk. It truly is. You and I have seen the successes of it, and that's not why we do it. This isn't prosperity gospel of, hey, go talk about Jesus and your business will grow. Like that's not the purpose.
Yeah.
Like we don't even lead within our marketing at all.
Yeah.
Like people know we are Christians just from how we talk and how we act, but they may not know that until they start the process with us.
That's right.
But I just think like you have to look internally to think like, how much does this mean to you? That's what it was for me. And I'm like, well, if I truly want my life to be aligned in every area, why am I not having my business be on mission for the Lord?
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of think like the thing for me, like I always think about like writing your obituary.
Yeah.
Like if you write your obituary, what does that say? Does that say that Joe Schmitz led the biggest and fastest growing firm in the entire country? Or does it say Joe Schmitz led the fastest growing Christian company and organization doing it the right way, right? So it just kind of frames your mind differently. But also like one of my biggest whys at this point is the team. Like I love the clients, don't get me wrong. I love serving people well. I love giving them a service that, can't be found everywhere from a financial planning standpoint. But when I get to see team members join us and make double the salary what they would have made somewhere else much quicker, or be excited for the mission or the impact, like that's what excites me at this point. And I've seen that duplicated and I've seen that multiplied with leaning in, because when you find those people, like for example, we get a lot of team members from Christian universities around town.
Yeah. You
pick a Christian university for a reason. It's very different. I mean, it's a lot more strict. There's a lot more rules. There's a lot more, there's not maybe what people would consider fun. There's not as much fun in their mind, right? But
which is usually just things that lead you down a path that's a little bit dangerous. Yeah,
exactly. But they make that decision at a young age to do that. So we get a lot of people that join our firm because that's their why.
Yeah.
And so us going all in has given them more fulfillment. Because if we wanted to be a financial planning firm without Christian values, there's millions of them.
Yeah.
How many are there? You probably can't even name more than 5 or 10 Christian financial planning firms in the entire country.
No,
but I bet you can name 5 to 10 easy.
Yeah.
Who are just secular, companies. And so I just think that you're doing the team a service as well through this.
You know what I think is interesting you just said is what you're proving though is you can be a Christian business and be one of the fastest growing. It's not an either or. So I think a lot of leaders, when they think like, oh man, I'm going to do this and it's going to impact my business in a negative way, and they're thinking they're making some big sacrifice in order to be outspoken for Christ, that they're also not able to have a growing, thriving business.
Yeah.
You're proving that wrong.
In a way.
I think one of the really cool, things that you just mentioned was everything that you've been blessed with hasn't just always been sheer financial return. It's the relationships.
Oh, that's the only thing that matters to me. I don't care about the financial
And that's what ends up in heaven. Like people end up in heaven. Yeah. It's not the business. It's not the accounts. It's not the fastest growing accolades. Like none of that. That is all going to like wither, fade, and be forgotten, right? Yeah. But it's the people that you impact and influence that show up there.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's what's become the most valuable thing to you.
Yeah, I mean, you get it. Like you've talked about this quite often too. It's like financial freedom is important. I believe everyone should try to get to a place where they have financial freedom. And many people can be very content, and that can come sooner than others, right? But once you get to a certain amount of income, you don't need more.
No.
Like all you're going to do is buy more things and stuff that's just going to make your life more complex, more miserable, and like not needed.
Yeah.
And so, it's more about the impact of what does this do through it. So, I just think that's a big point there. But yeah, it's exciting.
So you've mentioned CK a couple of times.
Yeah.
And can you just tell everybody what that is? Mm-hmm. And then like, what does that mean for you? Like if someone's doing business with you guys, knowing that you guys are certified Kingdom advisors, like what does that mean? What's different about that?
Yeah. So also I want to touch on the point you just mentioned too about growing. Like you can grow and be the fastest growing if you're a Christian. 100% believe that. I do want to put a disclaimer there though. It has been much harder for us to grow leaning into our Christian values. I just want to be overly honest so that
I appreciate that. Yeah.
People don't, feel like this is deceiving, and that's okay for me. Yeah. Because we have a saying that we want to be the best and not the biggest. And so I believe this is a feeling that, others can have, even if they're not Christian, they can still have this mentality that they want to serve something bigger than themselves. But we make all of our decisions as a firm to ensure that we do not lack client service, and we also do not overwhelm team members.
Yeah.
So for example, we've had to stop, marketing as much because we don't have the capacity to bring on as many clients. That's a decision that doesn't help the bottom line or doesn't help growth, but it's for the greater good of our purpose. And one of those reasons is because we can't hire people fast enough. I mean, when you put, let me just tell you these stats.
What an opposite problem of most businesses, which is great.
2,600 applicants last year. We only hired 9 people.
Wow.
And then this year we've had probably finished the year over 6,000 applicants, and I believe we'll only hire 15. So we go through so many people to filter in the people that we want to work with. And I'll share an example. We had a guy to share our struggles. Like we had a guy, awesome kid, he right out of college, really, really, smart, would have been really successful with us. He came into my office 30 days in and said, Joe, I really respect you guys. I love what you guys do. Grateful for everything, but I can't keep doing this. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, I can't withhold and live out the Christian standards that you guys talk about. And for me, that was like, my heart hurt for him because I wanted him on board so that we could, pour into him.
Yeah.
But it was also an eye-opening experience. Like, wow, we're on the right track. Like that means like we are who we say we are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can live with that and I was also very grateful as I let this process because he's now going to be in an environment where he's going to be a lot more, what he wants. So we're doing a much better job in the hiring process of just sharing, here's who we are. And we don't discriminate in only hiring Christians. That's just not who we are.
Yeah.
But they have to be okay with it and they have to be willing to live out, the standards that we have set. And so I just want to be very clear of like, yeah, we have limited growth. If we wanted to, like one of my visions was to open up offices all across the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
And then span out to other states. We had to stop that because it was a watered down service. And people we hired weren't as qualified for the role. They weren't as trained. It didn't work as well.
I love it.
So we went all into Ohio. We serve clients all across the country now, but we do it virtually out of our Columbus office. So just to give a little bit disclaimer.
No,
there.
I think it's great because we've had some other guests on the show who have had, some extreme excellence in their career and like they've achieved like peak levels of their career and they've used those opportunities and that credibility to share the gospel.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, the reason I had the microphone and the reason I was on the stage or the reason anyone was paying attention wasn't because I said, hey, give me that microphone. I'm going to kick this thing off. That's not about God and it's not about the gospel. And I'm going to give a little gospel message, just see who wants to respond. The reason I had that microphone was because I was so good at what I did that my credibility 100%. In that aspect was so above and beyond that
100%.
They were willing to give me the microphone and let me do whatever the heck I wanted to do. He's like, so I was able to lead people to Jesus that wouldn't have otherwise heard about it. But the reason I had the opportunity was because my credibility at the thing I did was excellent. So I think you're on the right track. I mean, you should be excellent at your job.
That's why I get upset with people who say work doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, it doesn't bother me, but it's a pet peeve I have where it's like, people will tell me like, you need more balance. You need to do this. You need to rest more. Like, okay. How many lives are impacted when I sit down and rest for 5 days? And like, yes, we need to rest. Yes, we need to recover. Yes, we can't be overwhelmed. I get all that. But
what are they really afraid of?
Yes. What is the actual concern there? It's much bigger than that. And so I've been just like, one of my purposes, like with the microphone that I have at this point is how do I say that more? How do I normalize that work is good?
Yeah.
As long as it's not causing sacrifice to your family, faith, fitness, the things that are priorities in our life.
Yeah.
Because I think people, they coast and they make excuses to coast because our world tells us to. Work-life balance is talked about everywhere.
The real underneath it all, in my opinion, would be they're insecure about their own output. And rather than like look inward, because that's the hardest thing to do is to look inward and say, okay, how can I, what does it say? Like, how do I take the plank out of my eye before I like look at the speck in before I look inward and say, okay, what do I really want? And what am I willing to go work for? Like what's important enough to me to go actually run hard at it and give it a go with this life? We only get one.
Yeah.
Instead of do that, they're going to want you to slow down.
Yeah.
And it's just that it's an insecurity is really all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my question, my mission is how do we remove that?
Yeah.
Right. How do we make it more normalized that what people like you and I are doing and other business owners and other really successful team members are doing is they're pushing the limits. They're letting themselves get to the point of saying, okay, I do need to back off a bit versus saying it before they even start.
Yeah.
So I think that's just a huge point.
I think you got a good, the one thing about it that's a good thing is that you got a good team enough that cares about you, because if someone's willing to say to you, the leader, if they're concerned about you and they're willing to bubble it up, that must mean that you've got a good relationship. Because I would say 9 out of 10 companies, somebody had a concern or a care for their leader, they might be a little intimidated or unsure about even presenting it.
And that still exists at our office. So I don't want to, say that doesn't exist, because I am a very intimidating person. I'm very direct. Yeah. I'm a high red personality. Like, I'm very results driven. You're very similar. It's hard to approach us.
Yeah.
Now, I'm lucky and blessed enough to have a few team members that really go all in. Like, they're not afraid to tell me anything.
Yeah.
There's still some other team members I'm trying to work on to open it up more, to be able to better understand their personality, to connect with them better. So it could be better. But I'll share an example here.
Yeah,
I'll
go ahead.
A quick story.
Yeah.
So, for example, you'll love this. So one of our team members, I was filming audiobooks for my 4 books that I've written, and I was like, I got to go record these, all day in a dark room.
Did you do them all 4 in the same day?
I did. I tried to. I've only done one so far.
Okay.
But I did the one in one day. So I just like to knock it out, right? And so, I was like, I don't want to do this, and she's like, get over yourself. She's like, you're being selfish. Like, you got 40 team members. You've got 1,000+ clients. You got all these people around the country that want to hear this book, and you're sitting here complaining.
Now
because
get your butt in there and record it.
Yeah. And so I walk into the studio to record, and I see up on the wall all of our bio pictures of all of our team members, so all their headshots, and it was because that's my why.
Yeah.
That recording that was not for my comfort. Recording that, was for the success of the team.
Yeah.
Recording this will help more people, allow us to get more clients, which impacts our team. And, I think that's what it comes down to, is when you can have that type of feel, and that's just who we are. So anyways, back to your question.
Man, I don't even know where we were going. It was like, that was so good. No, I just think that it's really cool to see, here's where I was going with that question was, have you given those team members that are willing to, have a really honest conversation with you and just tell you the truth, have you given them permission? Was that built over time, or are there specific people where you say, hey, I need to have my blind spots covered. I can't see everything that's going on. So I give you guys permission. Tell me the truth, even if you think it's going to hurt. Like, I'm open to it. How did that all come about? Yeah,
I still fail at it today. There's no hiding that. This is an area I'm not good at. It happens and it works, but it's not where it needs to be, because I get defensive when someone tells me what you're doing is wrong. I wouldn't have been able to get to this point of building this business if I did not have that mindset, right? You have to have that mentality of, like, the best advice, my business advice my dad's ever given me, he's an entrepreneur himself. He said, do what got you here and stop listening to what other people tell you to do. Right? What's gotten you here is unique to who you are, and that's what people want. And so, like, my personality on TV and YouTube and everything, it's me.
Yeah.
I was trying to be other people and it didn't work. But when I just went into me, like, my personality is one that, like, some people love, other people may not like it as much. But you don't need everybody. How many people are there in this world?
You just need enough people to like you to propel whatever you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Or to touch those people. And if people don't like us, okay, unfollow us, go subscribe to someone else, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But it's been a trust thing over time for me personally. It takes me a while to have someone give me feedback.
Yeah.
And call it a strength, call it a weakness. It can be both. But whereas strength is, now they feel fully empowered to tell me something. We have a rule for new team members. They can't talk within 90 days. And we posted this on LinkedIn, and I got all this like backlash.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And I'm like, guys, they can talk. They just can't give ideas. They can't,
till they get the lay of the land.
Change anything. Understand what we're doing, and then we'll listen to see what your idea list is. And so we're just big believers of don't speak unless it's valuable. And we have a very young team. So 95% of our team members are under the age of 33.
Yeah. So
that's also something that's unique with us. And so a lot of our team is still growing, professionally and, in every way. And so, I have to watch who I listen to. Like, for example, I had a guy come into my office one time and said, Joe, I feel like we got to talk more about our feelings. He goes, I think we need to talk more about work-life balance. He's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just not us. And so you have to understand who to listen to, who not to listen to. And, the core people that I get really good feedback from, I would trust them with my, future kids.
And the transparency is there. So it's like, hey, like you know what you're signing up for. I think that's key. It's like people know. Let me ask you this, with the success and the books and the YouTube channel and obviously the growth, like how do you stay humble? Because I resonated when you said like I get defensive.
Yeah.
It is so easy to get defensive when you're working really hard because you're putting out all this effort and energy, and especially when it's working. Then when all of a sudden comes in and it's a critique or a contradicting point of view,
it's hard to see.
It's hard to stay humble and just recognize that there's other points of view than mine.
Yeah.
Some of these are good. And even if I don't use them, sometimes it's good to know about them. Like, how do you build your humility in and amongst all the success and the growth?
It's tough, right? Because I want to have that balance. I don't want to be so humble that I hold myself back, right? Humility is thinking less of yourself, but not whatever the saying is.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? Nah, I can't remember what it is. I know you're talking about though. Yeah.
But because you also have to be very confident and convicted. And I've seen people where they try to be too humble, they hold themselves back. People love humbleness, but they also love people that are going to be able to show, I can get the job done, follow me. Confidence and conviction. And that can easily come across as not humble, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough balance for me personally to deal with. I don't know. Do I do it perfectly? Definitely not. Do I feel, good with where I'm at? Of course. Can it be better? Of course.
Yeah. I always heard the, humble enough to listen to other points of view, humble enough to be able to receive feedback. I mean, you can't just be like a wall because nobody wants to work for that. They'll be like, nothing I ever say around here. You'll create a bunch of people who want to go start their own peaks because they feel like their voice isn't heard.
Exactly.
But confident enough that after you've heard the feedback and you understand the situation, that isn't going to go on forever. There is a point where a decision's made.
Yeah.
And as the leader, I'm going to confidently move forward.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a...
Yeah. And I think that's it. Like, I think you just kind of explained one reason why we've worked so well is because of the directness that I've had. We don't chase shiny objects. Like, our team is really good. This is one of the things I give the credit to our team for the most, what they're really good at is brainstorming the idea. We come up with the decision and they run with it.
Yeah.
If they believe in it, they believe in it. But if they disagree with it or not, they're going to still run. And that's what I think has saved us a lot of time is when we have something that could go either way, could be successful either way, or we don't know, I say, this is the direction we're going. And everyone follows.
Yeah.
And in a business, in a team, you have to have that. Like sports, that head coach has to drive everything. Yeah. And if that team doesn't believe in the coach or that team tries to do their own thing, it's not going to work. And so I think that's the biggest thing to a team dynamic. So I don't know. I can get, people can give me a lot of credit for being a good leader and everything, but it's all about the team you have. Like, if they're not willing to get on board, it doesn't work. Like, you're a terrible leader.
Yeah.
So it's all about the team you have in my mind. Now,
I always heard the quote, like, leaders get the teams they deserve. So it's like, if you got a terrible team, you just said it. Like, you're probably a pretty bad leader. That's probably the way it goes.
You attract it, but like I would say, like, I'm not the best leader. Like, I wake up every day. And this is probably more of that humility side. It's like, I wake up every day and I'm like, how in the world do these people trust me? Like, I'm hard to work with. I'm high charging. I'm results oriented. I say stuff that, I always tell the team, like, I'm going to say stupid things and I'm going to do stupid things. As long as you guys are gracious and we can work together, we're going to make this thing really, really awesome. But man, isn't that humbling just to know you've got a team that's going to, follow a sinful person to.
It's pretty cool, man.
It is. Like, that's what makes my job really exciting.
So let's pivot outside peak. Like, what doors have you seen God open for you guys to have influence outside the walls because of the business, but it's not necessarily inside the business? Course. Yeah.
College students is where my heart is right now.
That's cool.
Getting to speak in front of college students on a big platform. So spoke in front of, over 150 students at my, alma mater, Mount Vernon Nazarene University. A few weeks ago, I spoke in front of 5 classes at Cedarville. Those students need to hear the messaging that we talk about.
Yeah.
Those students are very well influenced one way or the other. And I just see it as a huge mission to just share with them, here's what I've done. you can do what you want, but here's what I've done. Here's why I feel it's right. And you get to decide for yourself. And so, again, if you're not successful, these professors aren't going to have us come in.
No. And there's some good professors too, but I think that just hearing from the business community is so vital because most of the time, you graduate from college, you're not in touch with your professor. Your professor has no vested interest in what you go on to become. They need to hear from people who are living it outside those walls.
Exactly.
Yeah. How does that work? I mean, so when you go into the universities, typically our students come up to you at the end, or I'm sure you're speaking to some of the business schools or in the vein of the thing that you do.
Yeah. So we're really involved in financial planning programs. Yeah. And that's really all over. I mean, everyone is reaching out to us. Hey, come speak to our financial planning class. And I love doing that. Yeah. But we also get traction on the business side too. Cause we're financial planning, but we're not a financial planning business. I say that and people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's called peak retirement planning. You called it that.
But if we don't have any clients, we don't have a business. Yeah. We can't do financial planning unless we're really good with marketing, unless we're really good with hospitality. There's other things that come in place, operations. And so we have our department very, very built out. So we have a marketing team, an operations team. We're building out an AI team right now with how crazy this is. And so,
how does that look? Yeah. All right, hold on. We got to get to the AI. I asked, Bill Montgomery, the CEO of The River, I asked him about AI and music. Yeah. And actually played, there's a Christian artist, I don't know if you heard of him, Solomon Ray. Yeah. It's like, that's not a person, it's an AI thing. I don't know. But the problem is it's getting so good that like my kids like it. And like my wife the other day heard the Silent Night version and she was like, am I allowed to like this? Like it's not, I know it's not a person, but it's a really good version of Silent Night. How's that going to affect what you do? Like, are you seeing advancements that are just like, okay, like we're going to have to jump in on this?
Anyone that tells you they know what's going on with AI is lying to you. Yeah. This stuff changes every day. Yeah. But that's what we're trying to capture. We're trying to capture the tide and just be a part of this and see where it's going. Because, I've seen that AI by 2030 is going to be smarter than all humans combined. Yeah. It has an IQ right now of 148. It can pass the CFA exam in 10 minutes, which takes, people 2 years to pass. I mean, it's just scary how good this thing is. And so for us, if you were to ask me today what I think this is going to play out, I think it's going to allow us to serve a lot more people a lot more effectively. We're going to be able to be more of life coaches to them and not just financial counselors.
That's interesting.
And we're going to be able to deliver more services to them. We're going to be able to be that concierge service for them for all areas of their life. And so that's kind of where our mind's going. But we meet every week. You're going to laugh about this too. We have a group of us at Peak. We call ourselves DOPE. DOPE. Department of Peak Efficiency. So just like Doge.
Like, okay, so I like the pun. We get peak efficiency.
So anyways, we meet every week and all
now,
we do.
Doge failed though. You guys are going to succeed.
Come on, we don't have to bring that up.
Yeah.
So that's why we changed the name slightly.
Okay, I like it.
Anyway, so we meet every week to just talk about how can we be more efficient with this business and be more forward thinking. And one of our big, projects right now is AI. And we've got a guy on our team. He is 23 years old, and this dude is just sharp as can be. And he runs around and figures out all these automations and all this AI stuff. And so we're trying to build out right now where we can have an AI, help us in all areas of the business and just make us more efficient. So I think all businesses should be looking at that right now. If they're not, not, they're going to be the next blockbuster. So very important.
Man, I feel like there's going to be a lot of blockbusters. Don't you? I mean, I don't know.
Our industry, I get so excited every time I talk about this. Average age of advisor is 56. 1/3 of the population retire in the next 10 years. How wide open do we have for our business? I mean, it is an incredible opportunity to just step in and just take over more of this market share. Yeah. And so, we're excited for that. Just got to hire enough people.
And the folks that you serve, I mean, the reason you wrote 2% Club, Midwest Millionaire, can you take me through like who's the prototypical client that you're serving? Because I feel like maybe this is wrong. I feel like a lot of what they do for a living is kind of AI proof. Like it's a lot of blue collar pensions. Like,
correct.
Take me through that.
Yeah. So I think just in marketing for anyone listening, it has businesses. It's like, if you're not good at marketing, you're gonna have trouble scaling. We talked about that, but you have to be able to talk to your specific audience. So we've built our demographic around people I grew up around. So I'm from Carroll, Ohio. It's a rural community, one traffic light. Sometimes it works. It's a bunch of farmland down there. So you get hardworking people And, that's where I wrote the Midwestern Millionaire concept, because most of our clients have $1 million or more saved. So they need more advanced planning, but they're also extremely frugal, and have great values. They're family oriented, those Midwestern values you think about.
Yeah.
So I wrote a book about them, and that's who we tailor our content. We don't talk about people with flashy cars.
Yeah.
We don't talk about people living in the most expensive houses. We talk about those people who never made millions of dollars a year. They just made $100,000 to $300,000 a year. Maybe their wife stayed at home. They maybe had, 2 to 5 kids. That's the type of people we work with, just down to earth people.
Yeah.
And we also work with people with pensions. So people who've lived a life of service, federal employees, retired military, police and fire, all of these types of careers. And so, the 2% says that only 2% of the population has a pension, and only, 20% of people have a pension. 10% have $1 million or more saved. Combine those two percentages, you're left with 2%. So that's why we serve that crowd. But whenever you can niche down, it definitely shows people that this is a team I need to work with.
It's so backwards the way that most people think. They think I need to be able to figure out a way to be all things to all people so that I can have cast a wide net. And you're like, no, cast a net it can't be nothing. It has to be enough people in the net. The potential, like your total market has to be like big enough where you can grow.
Yeah.
But go speak to somebody specifically and cater your business around that, or at least cater your marketing around that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how you get, wow, that's pretty crazy. So let me ask you this. How do you keep, with everything else that you've got going on, whether it's being on the news, all this stuff, it fascinates me to see how God's accelerated putting you front and center in a certain area, whether it's the YouTube channel, the subscriber list is great, 70,000 subscribers listening to what I think is sometimes pretty boring content. Like right before the show, I was looking at
respectfully
with our producer. I was like, hey, look at this. It's 7,000 people have watched this, and it's about some obscure tax thing. I'm like, who is watching this stuff? But like, you've struck a nerve.
Here's what's crazy too. Most of our clients are in their 50s and 60s. People are like, no one's on YouTube except the young generation. Millennials, Gen Z, that's it. No, the boomers are on YouTube, and it's pretty crazy.
Unless you're talking about some tax pension thing, then apparently they're all over it. Yeah, like you've figured that out. So, but with all the other things that are going on, like how do you stay grounded in the Lord? Like what are some of the rhythms that you have where you keep that central focus?
Absolutely. So just spending time in Scripture is huge, right? All the typical routine things that all of us as believers and Christians should be doing: spending time in Scripture, attending church, hanging around like-minded people that are going to hold you accountable. All the things we've talked about here today, I think are key, but I think we're always going to be stretched away from those routines. I don't think that I need to sit here and tell myself or tell others that I'm doing something crazy to try to keep myself grounded. It's sticking to what works. The simple is what works, right? And I tell our team all the time, how can we make things simpler and get the same results? I say that all the time. And I think this is an area of our life where if we just spent more time with the Lord in the morning, how much would change?
Just before the day gets away, before your focus and everything else gets distracted and distorted.
And anyone can say that. You and I can say that. Yeah. We can say that we could do more. There's always more to be done.
Yeah.
So how do we keep ourselves grounded and building those habits, building those routines to do it effectively? That's the most important thing.
It's crazy that the simple is often the answer. Like God doesn't hide in riddles. He's not trying to make himself hard to find. He does make it unbelievably simple. We complicate it.
Yeah. And another thing I would say to this too is, like, I challenge myself in our team. How do we make decisions through the gospel? Yeah. Like when I make a decision for the firm, is that a biblical decision? Is that something that is righteous? So that has been a really good litmus test in some of the decisions that we've made to ensure we're doing it the right way.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's hard to do. But, heck, nowadays, you've got so many resources at you can go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm trying to make this decision. How is that biblical? You want to do a little digging on that.
I'll give you 25 bullet points and
you want to do more digging on that. You want to seek Scripture. But man, how easy has it gotten to us to just pinpoint where we need to be spending our time?
Yeah, that's really good, man. How do you, a couple of last questions, how do you read the Bible? Do you read it randomly, or do you have like a method?
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of depends on the season, right? So like right now what I'm doing is I'm just going through, like sometimes I'll go through like certain, like New Testament. So like right now I'm going through Luke and I'm working my way through the New Testament. So I'll do that every so often. Other times it's like, all right, I heard something at church that really struck me. Let me spend some time in that. Other times it's like, all right, here's a part of our business where we're at. Let me go read more on that specific pain point. So I would say it's more miscellaneous. It's not super routine, but also like that's my personality. I don't like over routine. I like to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's how, typically I'm doing it.
Oh, that's really good, man. So when you look out at 2026, I've got to ask just about this because you're the finance guy in the room and you're the finance guy in the show. What do you see? Like, is there cause for people to be optimistic? Because when I read headlines, obviously negative headlines are the ones that get all the attention, but it's like negative headline after negative headline. Everything looks scary.
Yeah.
What are you telling your clients right now is some encouragement maybe for people that are listening?
Yeah. I mean, I think, something I tell clients, but also something that I believe, right? For clients, we're always telling them, this is why we have a plan, right? Anything can happen bad at any time. That is why we've structured the plan how we do. If you need income from your investments, we're going to make sure that's protected so that if the market goes down, you have enough time for it to, recover. So that's how we communicate to clients over and over and over. In human nature, they need to hear that 1,000 times. I don't play into the whole, headlines. I just think it's just like, is it real? Yes, but we've always had headlines. We've always had struggles. We've always had things that don't go perfectly. Mm-hmm. And that will never change. And so I think, where I try to spend my time is less on that. Like you got to watching the news is my opinion, because you're going to get fed a lot of bad news. And it's like, for example, your volleyball coach in college, he never told you before a big game and was like, oh, Mark, man, these guys are like, oh man, I don't know if we're going to win. Like this is going to be really hard. Like he's going to be like, hey, we can do this. Right. So,
well, our coach actually did that a couple of times. We used to call them the pump down speeches. We're like, every now and then we get a pump down speech, but no, it was.
And you need to humble yourself every once in a while.
I would say, 99% of the time. Yeah. It's like, we're going to go take this thing.
Yeah. But it's more like, how do you motivate in the right direction?
Yeah.
And I think that's just key. And I just think that's like, the victim mentality. So many people can read the news and say, oh man, well, this is going to happen. So I better not try as hard. It's like, no, like go have extreme ownership and, get the job done and do what you can. So
dude, I love
that's
it.
my take.
I love the fact that you don't just look at things with like rose colored glasses optimistically. It's like, hey, just look at your own life. What's going on in it? Let's plan around that. And then let's go attack whatever it is that is in front of us. Yeah. Like the macro headline is not going to tell the story of like your specific life, like your micro life. Like you've got opportunity and there's enough good going on around you that you're going to have a pretty good year.
Yeah. I mean, look for the positives, right? Be grateful. You know, how many times do we not do that? Look for areas that, like what's the saying? Like, everyone sees the flaws in everyone else, but doesn't see it in themselves. Yeah. It's like,
it's true.
We just have to realize, hey, who are we? What are we doing? And let's, look at this from a process standpoint every day. I think that's some of the best advice too, is like, can't look too far out. Like it's good to have goals, but like you got to control every day. If you make the right decision every day, you'll find yourself in a really good spot.
I love it, brother. Well, where can they find you?
Yeah.
Like for people that have listened, like it won't be hard.
Everywhere.
It won't be hard. Yeah. But where do you want them to go look?
Yeah. I mean, if it's someone, who just wants to follow the, what we talk about, who we are, I do a lot on LinkedIn. I'm very active. So I do a lot of posts just on business and on growth and on advice for those who are the younger generation looking for a career. So, just where my passions lie in this space. So I would say they can find us there if they want to just learn more about our business. peakretirementplanning.com has all the resources we've talked about today. And, that should be able to get them where they want to go.
I love it, man. Well, thank you for being here. Yeah. You're one of my favorite young guys locally. And honestly, what you do is it's pretty crazy and blows me away. So I just love seeing guys like you going for it, but also going for it with a mission that matters and following Jesus.
And it's cool to have a community. For example, like Mr. Eric Rayer, like you referred him over to us.
That's right.
Dude's crushing it with us. A guy that's going to be a lifer with us. Like how awesome that I would never have had that connection if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
And how cool is it when we can build a community of people, of like-minded people that want to see each other succeed and understand that, hey, we can all do this together. That's what it's all about. And just love what you're doing with the Tithe Foundation as well. So really neat stuff.
Well, thank you for being a part of it.
Yeah.
So Well, we're going to get kicked out, so that's a wrap. But for those of you who have listened, if you want to get more content, access to other episodes, the newsletter, books, and other resources, you can get that at markgreaves.com. But thanks for watching today. We're over and out. Thank you for watching the First in Focus show. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and then share with a friend.